August the 31st, 2018, and I think we're overdue for a pet peeve about Ghostbusters. You know, pet peeve isn't really a strong enough term this time around. Most of my pet peeves are things that just, it's something that happened when they made the movie that kind of annoys me, or it's an argument that fans keep having over and over that's, kind of frustrating to keep seeing. This one, though, is a deliberate act, and it's driven by money. It's driven by a desire not to spend money, actually, is what it is. Okay, what am I talking about? I am talking about Sony retouching historical photos, okay? I was dimly aware that they were doing a few things here and there. Like, the first one I really remember spotting was the chin strap on the colander that Rick Moranis wears. They took off the ProTech logo, and I'm like, not that big of a deal. And then I saw something else and I thought, wow, why did they blur that out back there? And books came out where you would see some of the people in the background had their faces blurred. Okay, no big deal. They didn't know who those people were. They don't have the rights to their image. I can understand. You can't track them down after all these years. It's better to blur them. Okay. It's a behind the scenes photo, no big whoop. Then I noticed in one of the photos they had blurred William Atherton's face, the guy that played Walter Peck. I'm pretty sure they know where to find him, so it's just, okay, there's some guy. I'm not even doing enough research to notice that's a character in the film that we own the rights to. I'm just gonna blur everybody. I'm going blur crazy. And here's the thing. When it really kind of exploded into the consciousness, and several of us sort of had a caucus about it, including Paul Rudolph that runs Spook Central, Derek Osborne, several names, we all kind of emailed back and forth about it and started noticing really how prevalent it was, and kind of what triggered it was the Ghostbusters Ectomobile Workshop Manual. Now, I had gotten a copy of this free, and I had thumbed through it. I really enjoyed it. I thought they really did their homework on this. I praised it in a previous video. But on Facebook, a fan was like, okay, why in some scenes in the movie was the V8 logo and the Cadillac logo missing from the hood of the Ecto? I'm like, what's he talking about? He said, because I'm watching the movie and I'm looking through the reference book, and in some scenes it's there and in some scenes it's not. Did it fall off? Did they have two cars? He was genuinely confused by this. So the first thing I did was put in the movie, and I watched every scene that had an ectomobile in it. I can't even talk, I'm so upset. And I couldn't spot a frame where visibly the V8 logo and the Cadillac logo were missing off the hood. Then I went and got the book off the shelf and I looked through the book and you could never see it. So he was sort of conflating the two, and that's when I realized apparently when they did a book about the car from the movie, they edited every single shot of the car from the movie because they didn't want to pay a licensing fee to Cadillac or to V8, or I don't know. I don't grasp all of it. So here's the problem that I'm seeing. Okay, fine. I can understand. You own the property now. You don't want to have to pay these extras in the background, a likeness right to publish your book. You're trying to, save some money. But it is affecting the fans, especially the new fans that have come along that might not know the source material as well as some of us. So, if you guys out there are a new fan and you see a reference book that's published more recently, and you're using that to track down a prop or to build your cosplay or whatever, take it with a grain of salt. Maybe dig a little deeper, maybe go a little further back into the history and dig some stuff up, because Sony is manipulating the images that they are releasing on websites, in recent books, things like that. Here are a few of the examples that we have sort of been discussing in recent years. Here's a very familiar image from the "We're Ready to Believe You" television commercial that the Ghostbusters shoot. This is the original, and this is what Sony's done to it now. Now, in case you didn't catch that, every piece of their equipment has been retouched to remove details. Now, it should look like this. Well, actually like this. And it's got that Radio Shack logo right there on it. And some of these other details. Radio Shack down here, TRS-80 personal pocket computer, TRS-80 pocket computer cassette interface. They took out all that information.
How about this behind the scenes photo? What's questionable in it? Well, we're not owned by Coca-Cola anymore, so let's take out that Coke can. And while we're at it, let's take out 2 photographs on the wall, one of actress Ruth Oliver, and let's blur the pre-production art. Now, this was one of the most useful photos ever seen because it allowed fans to identify the radiac meter that Egon is holding in a couple of scenes of the movie. But if you look at it now, not only did they take off the Mini-Rad logo and the graph, they took off the visible large black button and a whitish reflection off of Harold Ramis's glove. What?
Now here's the really ironic thing. In order to present those photos to you with the most impact, I had to edit them further. Yeah, I had to free rotate them. I had to sort of compress them, resize them, crop them so that the two would match, because the old photo that had the good details and the new photo that had been retouched in many cases had been cropped differently or what have you. So you can't even take this video that you're watching as the definitive authority on some of these photos. So take everything you see with a grain of salt, and caveat emptor, buyer beware. This is my newest pet peeve. Thank you for watching.